A little over a year ago, I did a video showing all the changes and upgrades I did on my computers and network for 2020. Today, I want to give you an update for 2021 and go over some of the new and changed items. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe and smash the notifications icon so you'll know when there's new content. So I divided up the video into different areas of interest, ranging from network changes, computer hardware, audio, security, and home automation. As this is more of an overview, I won't be going in depth into any of the specific areas. However, I have covered some of these topics in the past videos, and if there's anything of any interest, please post it in the comments. With that said, let's get into some of the network changes that I put in place in 2021. The main area of change this year was in three areas: the addition of 10 and 1 gigabit managed switches, the upgrade to Wi-Fi 6, and upgrading my PoE switch. At the core of my 10 gig, 1 gig managed switch upgrade is the QNAP QSW M1208C, which is actually a 12-port 10 gig switch, which has 8 RJ45s and 4 SFP Plus connectors. In addition to that, I added 2 TP-Link SG1016DEs 1 gigabit switches in my entertainment centers to help isolate some of the IoT devices such as my cable boxes and Samsung TVs and a variety of other things. To close out my managed switch upgrade, I also started using the FS S3900-24T4, which is a combination 1 gig and 10 gig managed switch, and that's helping out with my VLANs and my test network. Lastly was upgrading my PoE switch because I needed additional ports and power. So I added a Netgear GS116 PPO, which is able to deliver up to 180 watts of PoE power to drive my security cameras and my 2 access points. To add some flexibility to my test network, I also added a QNAP QSW1105T, which is actually a multi-port 2.5 gigabit switch. Allows me to a little bit more flexibility when I'm testing products. For my Wi-Fi upgrade, I changed out my UniFi AC access points and replaced them with UniFi 6 access points. I'm now running 2 UniFi 6 LR and 1 UniFi 6 Lite access point for my garage. These allowed me to run 6 SSIDs and separate from my main network. In addition to my main network, I created an IoT, test, guest, and some family network. To close out my Wi-Fi makeover, I added a TP-Link outdoor access point, which sole purpose is to handle my Pentair pool controls, pumps, and pool lighting. This AP is attached to an IoT VLAN and is completely isolated from anything else. This year was the year of VLANs for me. For years, I used physical NICs in my firewall to create different subnets. This worked great and provided some isolation and allowed me to easily assign firewall rules to each segment. Using VLANs allows me the same basic outcomes, same basic controls, and the isolation, but allowed me to cut back on the number of physical switches, as well as to simplify things on my network now that I have managed switches. I'm in the process of making more changes, but so far it's been working out really well. I'll do an updated video later once everything is the way that I want. Overall, the computer upgrades this year was a bit slow, partially due to supply chain problems and partially due to the fact that I didn't really need too many upgrades. I did do one major upgrade to my Unraid server, and that's to upgrade the CPU to a Core i9-9900 to allow me more opportunities and more VMs. Initially bought for testing purposes, I also added an Apple MacBook Air M1, which I really didn't expect to like, but it's slowly become my main laptop, which allows me to do some rough editing when I'm not at my desk. As my test system also didn't meet the Windows 11 requirements, I did have to change out the motherboard with a new MSI motherboard, as well as a Core i5-9400 just to be able to meet the minimum requirements. As I'm now regularly doing videos for YouTube, this year I decided to upgrade some of my audio recording equipment. Though I have more than a dozen microphones, I decided to add the Shure SM7B for most of my work, as for me it provides the best results. To drive it, I added a cloud lifter and a DBX286S preamp and processor. For other shots and other locations as well as portability, I also added the Rode Pod mic. Lastly is my home automation. This was by far the largest undertaking. I've been an Insteon user for many years, but as the supply of their products and items, as well as their support's been decreasing, I decided to jump ship and hit HomeKit. The lighting was by far the most expensive and the largest part of the upgrade. I had to replace over 25 switches throughout the house, and I opted to go with Lutron, because in my opinion, they're the best in the industry. In addition, I also replaced the thermostat and my garage door module, as well as having to upgrade my irrigation controller to a Ratio. I'm still currently using the Insteon leak sensors and auto water shutoff valves, as I haven't found anything suitable, though I am testing some alternates and experimenting with different solutions. All in all, I've made numerous changes this year that have all had a positive impact on what I do. If I had to pick a couple areas that I think have yielded the most benefit for me, though, in my particular case, I'd have to say it was the implementation of the VLANs as well as the switch to HomeKit. Though the security of the VLANs is on par with the segregated network approach that I've been using for years, it has largely simplified my configuration while increasing flexibility and making it easier to control all my devices, as well as reduce the number of physical switches needed to get the same isolation. The switch to HomeKit has just been short of a culture shock. Though I've lost some of the programming level power features, I've gained simplicity and much more integration than I had before. Setting up HomeKit devices has been far easier than anything else I've used. Anyway, that's about it for today's video, and don't forget to give it a like if you enjoyed it. If there's something that you'd like more information on, please leave it in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.